everybody, it's Dr. Lori, and this is Ask Dr. Lori. We're live. It's nice to see all of you. Thanks for being with me. Tonight, what are we going to ask you? Do you think it's valuable? Is it valuable? That's the question I'm going to answer about your stuff, and I'll answer any of your questions that you want. Had a great day today doing some video calls. Had to do some messages with, doctor's appointments and trying to coordinate the schedules, and I did that. We all have to do that. But anyway, it's good to see all of you. Thanks for being with me. A lot of exciting stuff happening, which I'll put in videos. A lot of exciting stuff happening here, and exciting to see all of you. So if you have a question, put it in the comments. I'd love to answer it. Thanks for the video, for the super chats and super stickers. They help to support us and the channel. Bethany finally made a first sale. Hey, I love to hear that. I love to hear that. Then 4 more. So that's great. I hope that the information that's here on the channel is helpful. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the newsletter. You'll get more helpful information if you do. It's free. And you just go to drloriv.com and sign up where it says sign up for Dr. Lori's newsletter. Give us your email and we'll send the newsletter to you. Thanks so much for all of that. Don't forget you sign up at drloriv.com. And the website has a litany of information that a lot of you are saying, I didn't even know the website was so extensive, that there's so much stuff there that can help me too. Yeah, the website's great too. Where am I from? I grew up near New Haven, Connecticut, not far from the Yale University campus. So that's where I'm from. I don't live in Connecticut anymore. And our offices are in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. We do all kinds of work. I work all over the country. I do feel at home in a lot of states. People are surprised by that. I feel at home in a lot of parts of the world too. I've had the good fortune to travel a lot, but originally, where am I from? Near New Haven, Connecticut. So thanks for that question. I love New Haven. I love pizza. You can tell by my arms. You can tell by my thighs. I love pizza. Anyway, but it's good to be with all of you. So thanks for being with me. Don't forget to share the channel. Don't forget to share some of the videos. You're watching a video, go, hey, that's interesting, and share it with somebody. Brass is back. It's back pretty strong. Why? Because metallics were very popular in the 1970s, and we're seeing the revival of the metallics, whether it's brass or copper or other kinds of metals, pewters coming back pretty strong. Quality in brass is oftentimes identified not only by its color, but of course, quality and heft, weight, or substance, if it's substantial. One of the ways that you will tell whether or not brass is popular. But because we're at the 50-year anniversary of the 1970s, that's why you're seeing a revival in the metallics. You'll see it usually in home design features first, like fixtures in bathrooms and kitchens. You'll see it in decorative objects, right? Accessory objects. But yeah, it's pretty popular. But yeah, a lot of brass on the table on the studio table tonight. The studio folks said, hey, let's go with brass. So it's fun. I like the little plants and the little fruits too. So you get a little bit of color with your metallic. So it's not just all, very, very shiny anyway. Tampa Bay's Morning Blend, we've been doing dumpster, no dumpster, every week. So I don't know where you've been if you've missed me, because I've been there. And of course, also the videos are also here on the channel. But, yeah, I've been there. So I'm sorry you missed me. You better check in because I'm there. I have a hand-painted Nippon that I believe is antique. It's very possible that your hand-painted piece is indeed an antique or more than 100 years old. If it says Nippon on the bottom, sometimes it has a mark that has a green wreath, and I'm talking about vases, ceramics, porcelain pieces, hand-painted designs. Sometimes has some gilding. It'll have a wreath with the letter M in it, which is actually a manufacturer's mark. Sometimes it says Nippon, and yes, it could be an antique. What's the definition of antique? More than 100 years old. There you go. So you sure could have one that's an antique if it says Nippon. That's for sure. I was talking about back stamps today. One of my video callers had a lot of china, really nice pieces. And we were talking about the difference between a maker's mark and a distributor's mark. So thanks so much. I'm glad you're enjoying the channel, Christine. How they help to determine resale pricing. Yeah, auction value is different from insurance value, which is different from retail value. And people are like, I didn't know that. If you like to read and you want to read about these individual ones, go to drloriv.com and check out the research tab. You can also use the magnifying glass, which is a search feature. You can just go search and type in what you want to know. And from my website, the information about that particular topic will come up. So our search feature works very well too. You can do that. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. We've had a lot of fun with a lot of different things. Classes, of course, are coming up if you want to join me for a class. And I've added afternoon classes. That's right. For those of you who are saying, nights aren't good for me. I've got kids or I'm doing something else at night. Nights aren't that good for me. So I'm going to add some afternoon classes. So check that out. You can take a class with me and it could be in an afternoon time. So added those. The nighttime classes are still available. But again, we added some new ones because folks asked for it. So we listened. How would I know if my Majolica bowl is real? Okay, it has writing on the bottom, but it's so hard to read it. A couple of things about this word real. Is it real? So first of all, is it an authentic piece of Majolica? Is it made by one of the manufacturers who are known for making Majolica? Is it made in Italy? Is it made in England? Is it made in the United States? All of them would make them real, right? Many of them are authentic. You want to know about authentication and authentic elements of course, these. You can always send a picture to my website. How do you do that? Well, you just go to drloriv.com. There's 3 little buttons. There's 3 little circles basically on that home page. And one of them is send photos, get a report. So click on that, fill out the form, attach 3 simple photos that you can take with your smartphone. I'll look at it. I'll get back to you. I'll say, this is what you have. This is what, if it's worth the appraisal, for you to do the appraisal. This is if it's not worth you to do the appraisal, because I don't want you to spend money on something that you don't need or that isn't worth it, right? So there's that. But for the most part, when you're looking at things and you want to make sure, wonder whether or not they're authentic, you have to start to identify those particular objects. Like with Majolica, and I've said this on many of these, I've told you the list of what Majolica characteristics, what are you looking for? You're looking for that nice, bright, colorful lead glazed ceramic. You're looking for some weight. You're looking usually for figular elements and applied ornament. So, you know, it's got a body of a vase and then it may have an application or an applied ornament like a leaf or a flower or something. So that's what to look for. And I always give you this information. You know, I'm trying to educate all of you. Many of you are telling me, I had many of you on video calls today who were saying, I'm learning this, Dr. Lori. I'm getting it. I'm learning it. I'm understanding. I'm taking the classes. I'm watching the videos. I'm rewatching the videos. And I'm doing really well. When others are saying they can't sell anything, I'm using your techniques and I'm selling stuff. Or I'm building a wonderful collection of my own. I have such cool stuff for myself. I like to hear that too. I have a print that has an embossed design in paper. What does that mean? Okay. So an embossed or a pressed in design typically indicates that that particular print has been made in a process that in fact will raise the paper up. So that's one of the things that a lot of people like and look for. Sometimes there are embossed designs on different types of prints, and there are many different types of prints. There are intaglio prints, which are cut-in prints. They're cut into an actual plate, like a metal plate, and then inked and then impressed into a piece of paper. Sometimes you'll have a lithograph where you see the stone has been carved out and then inked and impressed onto a piece of paper. And embossed prints oftentimes will have those types of characteristics. It's a good thing to have an embossed print. Sometimes printers or publishers will use a little embossed, maybe it's a monogram or a little image to indicate that particular image has been printed or published by them, by that particular publisher. So look for those too. The 1970s, 80s, 90s prints were oftentimes had an embossed image or an embossed logo from a publisher or a print maker. So that's pretty cool. It's good if you have that. Usually it indicates a publisher's identity or a printmaker's identity. So good. I'm glad you're looking for that stuff. You want to get out your loop, right? You want to really look closely too. Can you please explain about the price of the Julia Child Mastering the Art of French Cooking Volume 2? So maybe some of you got this question a little bit and some of the social media channels. And some of you have been watching my Real Bargains videos, and I hope that you are watching it. There's a lot of great information. A lot of you are applying those tools to your own work. So people are saying, I don't understand why that particular book is so valuable. Well, a couple of things. You know, one person said, I don't understand why it's so valuable. I looked on Amazon and I could actually buy one for about $15. Well, I'm not talking about a reprint of that book that you could buy on Amazon. I'm talking about the first edition of Volume 1, Volume 2 of Julia Child's groundbreaking cookbook, Mastering the Art of French Cooking. Now, here's why it's so important. It's so important because it introduced French cooking and the techniques for French cooking, which are not all that easy to do, to American audiences. She brought it to American audiences, and of course, Julia Child became extremely important, of course, as a chef. And she also used that book to establish her very famous and popular PBS series, her television series. That 2-volume book became the tome, really, sort of the Bible for how do you actually cook like the French. She took years and years to develop it all. She worked with her friend Simone, and she basically put it together. She and Simone did. And basically, it's an extremely important cookbook. It's an extremely important cultural book. It teaches how, after World War II, we were very interested in all things European and particularly interested in things like French cooking. So this becomes extremely important to many, and it is an extremely important book. This was a first edition, as I indicated, in the Real Bargains, and it's not the same as you going on Amazon or somewhere else and saying, oh, somebody else said that same book was $15. It's not the same book. So, and I identified that information in that particular video. So I want you to understand when these Real Bargains come up, it's not that they're like everything else, it's that they're special for some reason. And what's also cool is how little that person paid when she found it, actually. And I think that person found it in the Goodwill bins. But yeah, a lot of fun. Introducing Americans to French cooking. It was groundbreaking, and anything that's groundbreaking or historic or culturally significant, values up. That's what you want to look for. Yeah, I'm very happy, of course. Happy New Year to everybody, too. But yeah, my team has been working very, very hard. Lots of new things happening here. We appreciate it. Yeah, I'm so glad you enjoyed your video call appraisal. I always enjoy doing them. I've been talking with a lot of you through video calls. A lot of you are getting full estates, big things ready before estate sales, yard sales, and such. Getting a lot of things ready and doing them through video calls because it's very cost effective. People like it. Here's Mary. Picked up an Eisenberg crystal necklace under $10. Wow, that's great. Didn't see the signature till you got home. Okay, well, that's okay. If you're able to identify it without looking for the marks, that's okay. That's great. That means you're learning, but use the loop. It's not a crutch, it's a tool. So, use the loop if you have it. It's a good idea to do that. You can get the loop on the specials and shopping page. And yes, I get compensation if you buy one of my recommended products. There's also, of course, some products on the store. They're a little different from the recommended products on the website. But in fact, the items on the store, like T-shirts and fanny packs and little purses and such, are available through the store here. Here, Lisa. Hi, Lisa. The jewelry mark JK Avon Pearls means that it is Akoya Pearls. Clasp has 3 marks, $7.50 for gold. Not only gold for $7.50, 18 karat gold. Okay. 18 karat gold, in addition to these other marks, which are makers and manufacturers marks. Don't forget about a distributor mark, right? So somebody who actually is running the store might put their mark on a piece because they've said, we want so many of these for our store. So a commission situation happens, and then the manufacturer adds a actual distributor's piece. So certain patterns or certain objects only go to that store. So that happened today, for example, with a Wanamaker mark that was on some Limoges china in one of my video calls. In your example, it indicates the type of pearls and where the pearls were made. But 750 is not just gold like any old gold. It's 18 karat gold, 75% gold. So that's important. That's very important. Don't forget about gift certificates on the website while you're there. Gift certificates for all kinds of things, for video calls and such. And Marielle wants to know, is the provenance of an item sometimes more valuable than the item itself? Well, provenance of an item can be more interesting to people than the value of the item. For example, maybe you had an ashtray that once belonged to, I don't know, Jackie Kennedy. And the ashtray isn't all that valuable in and of itself. But in fact, because it belonged to her, the value goes up on the object. But can provenance increase value of an item? Definitely, yes. Is provenance more valuable or more interesting to many? Many people do want to know the story and the provenance. Most people really enjoy antiques, art, and collectibles because they like the background. They want to know what the information is and what it was like then, that type of thing. So yeah, that's definitely true. Provenance plays a very big role. And for those of you who have objects that you're saving for kids or grandkids, I want you to write down the provenance. Histories of your family is important. It doesn't have to be fancy, but it's a good idea for you to write it down, or type it out, or just basically have it with that object so the story doesn't get lost. So that's a really important thing too. That's important for all of you to have. It's important also, let's see, Julia Child's book was yours. So I sold 3 of the appraised items for the appraised amount. People were telling me I'd never get that amount you appraised the items for, but they were wrong. See? I'm telling you all this to help you. Those of you who don't want to believe me, don't believe me. But this person, she was like, I knew it and I did it and I sold it. There you go. So, the proof is in the pudding. It's just that simple. I want you to succeed. I'm helping you guys to succeed. I'm using my research skills and my 25 years of experience, along with the education to, of course, help you succeed. Thank you for writing in the comments and telling us that, because it's good to hear it from you guys when you succeed. Because then everybody else goes, well, wait a minute, this isn't Dr. Lori just saying it. These are the people who had it happen. So I'm happy for you. I'm very happy for you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Wow. George Jensen, that's right. There you go. You sold it. It's terrific. I'm so happy for you. I know. Well, this is what it is. And this is why people say, hey, we have to get those subscribers up. We want to do more. We want to follow Dr. Lori. And a lot of you are being so sweet with of course, super chats and super stickers. And thank you for those. But you're also sweet saying, hey, Dr. Lori, we want to travel together. That'll be fun. I mean, fun. So we are trying to plan, of course, the Dr. Lori cruise. And it's going to be fun. If you want to join me, of course, I want to know where you want to go, what time of the year, where are you thinking? And we're going to plan it because everybody's really excited about it. I sure am too. And I'm a good traveler. And let me tell you, I know where all the best places are. So there you go. We'll have a lot of fun. So pop into that discussion, of course, on our social media channels too. Yeah, Faith, signed Henri Matisse prints are very valuable. It depends on which time period of his long career you're looking at. Some of the cutouts toward the end of his career can be valuable. They're very bright colors. They're abstract. They were toward the end of his life when he didn't have as much use of course, mobility. So he would sit in bed and actually cut out pieces and move them around, pieces of colored paper. The earlier pieces are also quite fine. We have a lot of lithographs by some of those greats. Picasso did lithographs and Henri Matisse did lithographs, and so did, of course, many of the Impressionists prior to the activity of those two artists. But Matisse, definitely very, very desirable pieces. Some of them very straightforward, one tone or monotone, one color, if you will, one tone, monotone lithographs. Some of them were brightly colored pieces too, but really wonderful. He had a great and interesting career. He grew up in a family that actually was involved in the textile trade. He was in Tahiti for a time. Matisse is pretty darn interesting. Jasmine, my loop and diamond tester came. Yay, the loop and the diamond tester. People love it. One of my video callers today was using the Presidium gemstone tester while she was on the video call with me, and I was helping her through that while we did the appraisals. You got a Marshall side pyrography piece. Any idea of value? I'd have to see it. Can you send a picture? I'm glad you enjoy the show. I'll take a look at that pyrography piece and I'll be able to help you with that. But basically, and we appreciate, of course, the support with super chats and super stickers. Otherwise, we just can't do it. We just can't do it without your help. And you can help in any way. You can help by watching. You can help with tips in our tip jar on the website. You can help with super chats and such and that kind of thing. Yeah, European cruise like, Portobello Road and then the flea markets of Belgium. And then maybe you take a trip into Barcelona and some of the great architecture and art museums, of course. We'd have a great time. Vintage Versace clothes. Yes, 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 yes. Vintage clothing in general, couture always holds its value. People like the designs. People like the pieces that, of course, are designed not only by Versace's Gianni Versace, but also by his sister. Both of them would be interesting. The accessories are always very good. With respect to the resale market, we see a lot of those on places like Poshmark and Rebag and Etsy and all these other places too. But really, yeah, very nice. Sure, if you can see a good one, that's great. Hey, John, nice to see you. Thanks for your support. My hero. John's one of my heroes, that's for sure. Great time. And speaking of great times, I'm looking forward to some public events too coming up. One of them Pittsburgh, one of them Iowa, one of them Seattle coming up. So check out that events page at drloriv.com if you want to see me in person and bring an object to one of my events. I'd love to see you. I'd love to see you. I'm looking forward to all of that. Exciting, really exciting. So lots going on, busy. Here's Shane. Hi, Shane. Any info on the growing market for radioactive glass and radium clocks? Well, there's a couple of things that we're seeing. We're actually seeing where the security and also folks who are concerned about objects that might have some problems. For example, we have to be careful because now it's not accepted. See, there's a difference between what's accepted that you can sell and a difference between what a lot of the online platforms are allowing you to sell. There's certain things that are legal to sell, but the online platforms don't want you to sell them, or they say we don't sell those pieces on our platform. Hey, and that's their deal. They can do that. If they want to do that, they can do that because they're running the platform. So, okay, that would fall into categories like ivory, like went out of my mind. Mercury, for example, that kind of thing, and other reselling tips. So some of those, before you invest in those, you might want to say to yourself, hey, I don't want to put too much into this because I don't know where I'm going to resell it. I'm going to have to resell it privately, right? One to one. Some rules have to do with whether or not you can sell something over a state line or shipping it. So you have to know all those rules. You have to abide by all those rules. As for the clocks and also the glass, yes, we're seeing an impact in the resale market on those objects. We're not seeing the prices we think that they can command. So if it were me, I would probably advise you to hold if you have them in inventory. But yes, I think that they're going to come back pretty strong within the next 6 to 8 months. And I always say, give it a couple of months, give it some time for that market to develop before you jump yourself in and sell off something really great. Let that market develop. Let's have more conversation about it. Let's see some more public display of those types of objects, because all of that scholarship too, articles, information will increase value, impact the market and increase value. So you don't want to be the first one establishing that market for everybody. You want to get into that market once the value's been increased. Kathy, what's the difference between American cut crystal and European cut crystal? Which is more valuable? It depends on the piece. All right. So cuts for European cut crystal happened earlier. American cut crystal is usually a more complex in the patterning, but in fact, one is not individual. One type is not always more valuable than the other type, right? It will depend on individual pieces, individual makers, and how good that piece is, aka quality. So, good question. Thanks for that. I visit all over. I come all over. So if you want to know when I'm going to visit near you, I need you to go to drloriv.com, click on events, and scroll down and look at the schedule. If you want to get information, actually an alert when I'm going to be in your area, all you have to do is go there and ask to get an alert, because those get sent out automatically too. We've set everything up so it's easy for you. You have to use it. So yes. And yes, I do expect to be in that neck of the woods, and I'm busy traveling here, there, and everywhere, and busy here with all of you. So make sure you're here with me too. The events will also tell you, and the alerts will also tell you when we're doing Ask Dr. Lori Lives. I had a wedding dress from that era. It took me 3 years to sell it, but it did sell for a decent price. Well, that's good. Sometimes it takes a while. I had one person, I'll never forget her, video caller and a class member, really smart woman. She said to me, Dr. Lori, you see all this stuff behind me? I just may have to wait. And if I have to wait, I don't mind waiting, because I'm not going to let it go for less than what it's worth. She's right. You know, sometimes you have to wait. It will depend on many factors. It will depend on the market. How good is the market in general? How good is an economy at a certain point in time? That kind of thing. So there you go. That's what we're looking at. Is it possible to have, look at that puppy's face. I love his face. Is it possible to have a glass piece have both a molded pattern and a cut pattern? Yes, yes. You could have a piece that's cut, frosted, molded, etched. You know, I've seen all kinds of designs all together. Sometimes it doesn't look great when they're all together, a lot of different types in a piece of glass. But yes, typically you can see all different things. I've seen, them actually make a piece of glass in one manner and then add to it. Sure. Yeah, you could certainly see that. Good question, though. Good question. And cute puppy, too. Yeah, that's great. That's just great. Yeah, all kinds of stuff going on. Very, very busy. I'm glad that you're watching the videos. And thank you for noting. Somebody noted early on that we're getting very close to even more in the hundreds of thousands of subscribers. That's amazing to me. So fortunate, so wonderful. It's great that you're all doing that. You're telling your friends and doing that too. Pastor, how are you? How are you? It's nice to see you. Is pottery with a metal tag from Greece a collectible? It has animals on it. Well, it could be collectible. It probably is collectible if you just use that term in the widest definition of that vocabulary term. Usually pieces from Greece will have an indicator of that. Sometimes a lot of the collectible pieces and the tourist pieces from Greece relate to Greek culture. For example, they might look like they're new, but they look like ancient Greek vases. Those are very popular when you're traveling in Greece. So yeah, and tags are important and marks are important. Of course, import-export marks are going to be important. You're going to recognize those automatically on the newer stuff. But collectible just means, can I collect it? Is it something I can collect more than of one? So that's good. Hi, Duke. How you doing? I bought a Rookwood set of bookends. Oh, I like Rookwood. Rookwood is a wonderful, of course, ceramic manufacturer. Can't find a set online or in a Rookwood book that's the same color anywhere. How do I find if they're legit or just rare? Okay, a couple things. I want you to look at the Rookwood mark. The Rookwood mark looks like a ray of sunshine with the rays kind of thing. And then it will actually indicate some information about that particular piece. You'll notice also there should be some numbers underneath. So that's going to be important too. And then colors, colors with many of these early 20th century manufacturers of ceramic pieces, vases, bookends, planters, whatever it might be, candlesticks. You will see that a lot of these manufacturers did use unusual colors. They sometimes are very rare colors. And, if you have that mark, for it not to be legitimate, everybody's like, oh, it's a fake. Oh, it's a fake. A lot of times it's just a manner of, let me take a look at at it with a picture. Send me a picture. Let me take a look and see what's what. If it's really off, then we'll see what it is. Maybe it is a reproduction, but 99 times out of 100, it might be more apt that you have a piece that's a rare color. They did try that and experiment with pieces. With bookends, I'd be very surprised if you have pieces that are faked. If you're going to fake a Rookwood piece, you're going to fake a Rookwood vase more quickly than you're going to fake Rookwood bookends. So don't jump to it's fake too fast. Let me take a look. So let's see. Avon car cologne for men have value. How many were there? Oh, Ace, how are you? There's a lot of them. And when I mean a lot, I mean a lot. There's a lot of them out there. Most of them don't have the cologne still in them. If yours has the cologne still in them, market goes up a little bit. A lot of people do collect them. It's very much like the Precious Moments figurines that everybody said, nobody cares about those. They're not worth anything. You can't sell them. There are collectors out there who collect those. There are collectors out there who collect the Hummel figurines that all of you think are worth nothing, and it's not true. And there are people who collect those Avon bottles too. So you got to find the person, and you have to have the pieces. If you have the box, that would be great. But the figural antique cars, and they've got the men's cologne in it, pretty desirable for of course, the Avon collectors. Yeah, it's pretty good. So thanks for asking that question. That's a good question too. Right. Is it valuable? Is it valuable? That's our theme, of course, tonight. I have two Belleek, and it's Belleek. So we've got to get the spelling right, because when you're searching, you won't find it. Right? Pieces my mother got in Ireland. That's great. They indicate the 1960s era. So if they indicate that, they have marks of the Belleek pieces, the gold mark, the black mark, the green mark, the mark that has a registration, a registration mark in the circle, the R in the circle and such. So there are lots of people who are interested in Belleek. There are lots of people who are interested in certain Belleek pieces from certain time periods and special ones that they don't make anymore. So the retired Belleek pieces too. The large ones usually have significant value. And of course, you want to look at those marks. So yeah, that's great if you have them. 1960s era is great too. Andrea, thank you very much for the super chat and super sticker. I like your blue rose too. That's pretty. I like that very, very much. So yeah, don't forget about those aspects when you're looking at pieces that were mom's or grandmom's, right? You want to look for those pieces that maybe she cherished for some reason, or if they have a different mark. So if you have some in the house that are a Belleek piece that is a green mark and then a Belleek piece that is a black mark, oh no, all these marks are supposed to be green. No, no, no. A lot of them do change the color of the marks when you're looking at these types of pieces. All right. So pretty cool. Yeah, lots of cool stuff, lots of nice pieces too. Crystal. Well, there you go. After the video about Hummels, you found a plate in a box, 1975. That's right. And certain ones are more valuable. Remember, I talked about those. I told you which one of those collectible plates were more valuable and why. I even gave you hints about which figurines hold their value. One of them, of course, is the apple tree girl and the apple tree boy. But you got to go watch that video. Go watch the Hummel video where I tell you all about it and I give away all the secrets. And you'll learn about those Hummel figurines as well. What fun. Where is the best place platform to sell antiques? Mary Beth, that's a great question. And I have a 4-part how to sell your old stuff class that answers those questions. Actually, in parts of that particular class, I actually go through all different types of objects and where the best platform is to sell those objects. My classes are, at the time of this taping, only $39 for a class. Very inexpensive to take a class about how to sell your old stuff for profit. And that's also on the events page. Certain pieces will sell better on certain platforms. Certain platforms will take more or less of a commission for certain objects. And you have to, of course, follow the rules of individual platforms. But I help you out with respect to all of those. So whether it's jewelry, whether it's custom jewelry, whether it's home decor items or vases, ceramics, glass, whatever it might be, artwork, sculpture, architectural elements, maybe it's sports collectibles or prints or anything. So barware, whatever it might be, I can help you with where to sell it for top dollar. And all these people are showing you, I got an appraisal from Dr. Lori and I sold it, even when other people told me I couldn't. There you go. What do you look for when you're dating Micmac baskets? Okay, you have to look for the type and quality of the actual weaving. You have to look for where the starting is, how they start the basket. That's very important because sometimes it'll be started with a crisscross, sometimes like a crisscross woven element. Sometimes it's started and it's actually only coiled. You want to look for that. You want to look for the type of material it's being used, right? So if you're looking at different types of baskets, you have to start to learn what type of reed or what type of material is being used. That's very important when you're looking at these baskets. Size will be important. Condition is always important. Condition is key to the value of course, any objects. I appreciate the super chats and the super stickers. This shows me that you like the content, that you're enjoying, of course, the channel, and you're learning from it as well as having fun. So don't forget to tell your friends about it too. Mary Beth, yep, you're going to learn a lot at the class, of course, tomorrow night, and you'll learn a lot at the other classes too. And you'll learn a lot just watching the videos too. So I'm Dr. Lori. Thanks for being with me. I'll see you next time.